Okay, all right, let's get started. So today we are going to be talking about the English language learners in our classrooms, or emergent bilinguals. So the first thing I want you guys to do is on your paper, just take 15 to 30 seconds to jot down one name of a student that you feel like is their English abilities are impeding the learning in your spaces. And then as you write about that name, I want you to write down common behaviors that you see them exhibiting in your classroom.
Is it happy?
Makungi.
And you said the behaviors?
Yeah. And that could include like academic behaviors or like emotional reactions also to not being able to access. Perfect, that's our 30-second timer.
Yes.
So who are we thinking about?
Happy.
Happy.
I'm gonna say happy.
So those of you talk about happy, what do you see in your spaces?
I noticed that he's smiling a lot, and I can tell like he's pretending to follow along.
Mm-hmm.
And so just trying to figure out how to support him in that area.
And do you know what's cool about that? In Code Talker, that's what the character in the brigade does at school. He just smiles and nods because of his language barrier of him not speaking English.
Oh, that's cool.
I know it's pretty cool, but he does. He can read. I do know that. But when he's actually doing independent practice, like when we provide evidence, all he does is literally copy down words from the text and not actually answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
And if, when we're teaching and following along, like the smile will just go. But I don't think he truly grasps the concept.
Like what's going on.
Yeah.
Second student, Emiliano.
Very
Loves to
intelligent.
participate.
Loves to participate. His spelling, he just, and then when he tries to get his thoughts out vocally, he gets confused with English and Spanish words, so that's where the struggle comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
6th grade?
Derek? Yeah. Maybe I'll know Derek. Yeah, he will just often use Google Translate. I think like, also he's like, has a sensitivity to noise. He'll like put his headphones on, even if there's nothing plugged into it, and just like sit there. So I think maybe like all the extra noise, along with not fully understanding everyone around him, like plays a part.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also add that he's very like, you can tell that even in his actual language, he's a very high functioning student.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's truly just a language barrier. He will ask for help. He'll say like, I don't know, I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever he's given access, even in his own language, he attempts to put it in the English language, so he knows the things to do.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't feel like we're supporting him with enough resources to be able to fluently become an English speaker.
Yeah. I think, and that's like the problem that we've all expressed, because this year, a lot of the English, like you brought up Happy, we can't just throw like an English-Spanish dictionary at Happy, because that's not his language gap.
Right.
And then even though most of us have had experience with Spanish speakers now, we have zero experience with our Malay, I don't know what he speaks, is that Swahili?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
The foreign language that we know here normally is Spanish, and now we
Mhm.
have other foreigners that we know have no knowledge of the language.
Right, so what are things currently like in your classrooms or that in the SPED space that are happening that support our English learners?
So a lot of those students are in the same class with students with IEPs, so they already are getting oral administration. So that's something that also supports EB or EL students.
Mm-hmm.
Even just giving them extra time, so if the assignment is for independent practice, 20 to 25, I'll give them 35 minutes, or just work until it's all time for us all to get out of the classroom.
And then frequent checks for understanding, just making sure, are you with me? Because like she said before, some students will just nod and smile like they got it when they're not quite there.
Mm-hmm.
I think across the board, all classrooms are utilizing graphic organizers to help scholars to keep their work a little bit more organized and tangible for them. And when I was doing virtual, you can put closed captioning on the screen. And I know Miliano and other scholars enjoy that. However, it's not a support for Happy.
Okay. I don't know why I get nervous when there's a video on, but I can.
You're
cut
talking to the person who always gets nervous.
Okay. Thank you so much for sitting with me today and kind of reflecting on quarter one.
Yes.
I know last time we chatted more about EL and special populations, but today I kind of wanted to talk about all the work that you have done this year as opposed to last year for like our cultural shifts on campus.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be looking at my screen. It's not meant to be robotic, but so I can write down your answers. But my first question is, how has working with a collaborative team supported your own professional development this year?
How's working with a collaborative team? It's pretty cool because you get to see different people's perspectives, and when you collaborate together, we can kind of like just mesh our ideas. So, like for example, when we have our weekly team, what do you call those? I always forget. Great team,
Fridays.
yeah, Fridays. Those meetings, like when Miss Lily comes in, she'll ask us questions like, "What can we do to get scholars motivated?" So like we have the homeless drive as far as like we're getting lotions and toothpaste and things like that. Now, although we only had the one lotion, I'm trying to motivate kids to like, okay, hey, y'all know there's only 300 points to do the student versus teacher game. If you bring one bottle of lotion, I can give you 100 points. Or if you can tell me the genre and the thinking job, that's 20 points. So just trying to make learning fun to give them some sort of positive reward. It seems to work because the volleyball game showed a true example of, okay, I want to get sure I make sure my points, so I don't have to be in class the last 45 minutes to play games. So it's been pretty cool.
How do you think about like the goal setting you've done and like the trackers, like how have those things changed scholar investment?
It shows their progress. So like when I try to grade everything, they're like, okay, I know when I receive my paycheck I got an 81, but what can I do to get an 89? So if I show other scholars when I hang up there work in the room, it just motivates them like, oh, I can do better. You know, our one Corolla student is always trying to, I'm first, I got masters. I got the, it's just so fun and exciting to just see them want to do better and try to be in competition with other people to just get a level of mastery. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I've seen that like they've gotten to grow with you because having you in 6th grade, like kind of.
Yeah.
And then having you in 7th grade, like you are so hyper aware of where they are. And so I even just heard you in tutoring just now, like this isn't you guys, like figure it out. Like we're the day back, like make sure that they're as focused as you are.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. How has being a member of this team forced you to lean into your strengths and advocate for what you know to be true for your students of focus?
It just helps me become more aware because I know that I can be the voice of reason or I can be the voice of like, y'all know Miss Samantha Faye ain't playing today. It just kind of helps me see the growth in that, to see like, okay, if we don't have any admin on the floor or if there's no one in the cafeteria, it just allows us to just kind of step up or me to step up and want to do something. Like if I see something that should be changed or something that should be happening, if I know the expectations of you or Mr. Green, I'll make sure that gets done because we shouldn't let up on anything. It shouldn't be any relaxed time. Was that a 2-part question? I didn't hear the last part.
Yeah, you leaning into your strengths, I think you mentioned that, like stepping into your leadership role without having the name of a
actual
leadership.
leader,
Yeah. And then advocating for what you know to be true. So I guess like when you think about the students in your room, how are you the voice when it comes to like campus changes or
So I know like our kids who get frustrated with whatever changes that we make, and they, you know, like today, y'all do know we have had a lot of vandalism and cell phone usage in the restroom, so we do have to kind of empty our pockets before we go to the restroom. So implementing that, it just shows that like, oh wow, dang, they really are watching us. They really do care. We always hear that y'all care too much or y'all do too much. We do that because no other school is going to step in the way that we do to try to close these gaps, whether it's with education or culture, because they were gone for almost 7 to 10 days. And to just try to have to reset that today was a bit of a challenge, but it makes me aware that like every time we had to have a holiday break, we have to do a reset. We have to get back to where we once were, because if we're scoring high, making those high scores, we got to be able to do that every single time.
Yes, I'm sorry. No, I agree. Why do you believe that you are a dynamic member of our team?
not to toot my own
Oh,
horn.
toot
Toot. I just feel like because I embrace everything around us, whether that's going to other campus events, supporting the school with the Wakanda for everything. I feel like once I say like, hey y'all, let's all kind of go there, and they're like, yeah, let's do that. Let's have a great time, because I feel like I am part of bringing the joy when it comes to the things that we do, especially like instead of you need to do this right now, this I'm like, come on, let's do it. Let's get like just make it fun and just try not to be so raw to them, but just kind of like give them like a warm welcoming of like, okay, love you, but we got to get this done. We got to do this, and just like I feel like I play a large role here as far as like just wanting to be a part of something fun and better than just not just education. So.
That was good, and that was very accurate.
Thank you.
What do you think you could bring to the table that you don't believe you've already had the opportunity to do?
That's an actual thinking question right there. I think that I can bring just more truth as far as like I said this to my mom today. This is so crazy. I feel like as a teacher, I'm not just here just to teach education. I feel like the things that I say and do with the kids helps them all around. So I feel like me being real and honest with them helps them like, okay, I'm not only teaching you how to be the best scholar that you can be, I want you to be a good person. I want you to know how to treat your friends and apologize when you're wrong. You know, just take accountability, things like that we teach them. I try to give them examples and try to relate to them, whether it's through a TikTok, a meme, things like that. So it's just so that they can know that like, hey, I care and I hear you and I truly understand you. Let's try to figure something to work it out. And I feel like me and a couple others who are here try to do that, just have one-on-one conversations, and I feel like just getting to know them is very important. I couldn't start it today, but I wanted to. Just picking one scholar from each classroom when I already have my lunch. Y'all can come have lunch with me. Let's just talk. Let's just try to have those moments with each other that they're not going to get at any other school. So.
Yeah, and a student today, when we were walking around, they were off task, and we were like, you need to be focused on the lesson. And they said, well, I'm not really allowed to talk at home, so this is the first time I have like the opportunity to talk. And so I think like planting those quick moments, like they say, like 5 minutes changes everything.
It does. When like you have scholars who just want to say something because they haven't had a chance to say exactly what they wanted to share with their parents. So it's just kind of cool to just hear like, I was on the phone with my boyfriend last night before I paid, and I'm like, okay, girl, what are we talking about? Things like that. So I just think it's them opening up is just real positive. So I like that.
So I love that commitment. What do you think is one thing, whether it's using student council or the leadership team or like internal leader, you know, like you, that we should like focus on quarter 3?
Having moments where they can actually express themselves, because I know as a kid sometimes I felt not heard, and I know we give them a chance to advocate for themselves when something negative happens, but just express what you're going through that's positive. Like, did you beat this level on a game? Like, what did you score on your last exam? Like, things like that. Just having an open forum of just discussion to just tell us what's happening. Just celebrate, just a moment of celebration, whether that's 5 or 10 minutes. And not just with education, just what did you do? Football went to the championship. They won it. Let's give the football team 5 minutes to talk about how they decided to get on that road to, you know, be champions. So.
Taking the time to celebrate. I appreciate that. I also just love and need to name that, like, you are a dynamic part of this team. And so I think when I look at as our campus grows, like, we only have 2 grade levels of kids. So as it grows, like, some of these things, whether it be the quick moments or I'm trying to figure out a way to, like, phrase the celebrations. Like, you're exactly right. We are building the seniors in high school. The kids that are applying for college. We're building it's my first job and this is where I want to work. Like, it's so much more than reading and math.
I secretly want to follow them.
I know.
I know
Catch me
y'all
at
for
the high
almost
school.
2 years, please.
Yeah. So I just appreciate you and thank you for reflecting today.
No problem.